On February 14th, circa AD 270, Saint Valentine is beheaded in Rome.
But who was Saint Valentine? And how did the day of his death become associated with lovers?
Claudius Gothicus, also known as Claudius II or Claudius the Cruel, became Emperor of Rome in AD 268. At the time, the empire was involved in multiple bloody and unpopular military campaigns. Soldiers were forced to travel thousands of miles from home to fight in faraway lands. According to tradition, Claudius Gothicus banned young men from marrying, hoping that since fewer men were tied down, enlistments would improve. During this period, Valentine was an early Christian bishop from Terni, about 60 miles north of Rome along the Via Flaminia. He defied Claudius's edict and secretly performed marriages for young lovers. When this was discovered, he was arrested and sentenced to be beaten and beheaded on February 14th. Legend has it that while Valentine was in jail awaiting his fate, he and the jailer's daughter Julia became friends, and he wrote a farewell note to her which he signed, "From your Valentine." Saint Valentine is believed to be buried on the Via Flaminia. More than 2 centuries later, Pope Gelasius I established the feast of Saint Valentine in AD 496. There are many theories about how Saint Valentine's Day became associated with lovers. One is that it was promoted as such to supersede the pagan holiday of Lupercalia, which was held in mid-February. Part of the celebration of Lupercalia involved the sacrifice of goats and a fertility rite where goatskin-clad priests would strike women who wished to conceive. It is unclear how effective this was. The legends that characterize Saint Valentine and associate him with lovers were developed long after his death by Englishman Geoffrey Chaucer and his circle of writers in the 14th century. Chaucer is, of course, best known for authoring the Canterbury Tales. There are 2 other Saint Valentines that appear in Catholic lore and are associated with February 14th as well, which creates some confusion and makes it all the more difficult to separate fact from legend. One of them was born in Rome rather than Terni, and there's a lot of blending between their stories. Adding to the confusion about the life of Saint Valentine is the fact that Valentine and similar names were quite popular back in the day, which means there are a lot of individuals sharing the name. There was even a Roman emperor in the 4th century named Valens, often pronounced Valens. The word valens in Latin means worthy or strong. Think of English words like valor and value, which share the same root. In Eastern Orthodox Christianity, St. Valentine's Day is not celebrated on February 14th. The Church commemorates 2 of the St. Valentines on different days, one on July 6th and another on July 30th. There is yet another Valentine whom I think is the most important Valentine in history. That would be my Uncle Max. He was born on Valentine's Day back in 1927, and because of this, my grandparents gave him the middle name Valentine. He's definitely number 1 for me. Here are other events that happened today in history. In 1779, English Captain James Cook is killed by natives of Hawaii during his 3rd visit to the islands. In 1912, Arizona, which was acquired during the Mexican-American War, becomes the 48th U.S. state. In 1929, Scottish bacteriologist Alexander Fleming introduces penicillin, the world's first true antibiotic. Also in 1929, gang violence in Chicago leads to 7 deaths in the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. In 2005, 3 PayPal employees launched the video sharing website YouTube in San Mateo, California. In 2018, 17 people are killed at a shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. In 2020, an 80-year-old Chinese tourist dies in Paris, becoming the first reported COVID death in Europe. And now, it's time for our Today in History quiz. An explosion aboard which U.S. ship led to the Spanish-American War? The USS Maine, the USS Pueblo, the USS Constitution, or the USS Maddox.
Liked learning about the origin of Valentine's Day? Then you'll love this one about the history of Halloween. Tap the screen to keep the story going on Today in History.